Welcome back to the Hidden Benzo Chronicles. This is episode 2, my benzo story up till now, and I am Wally Sam. So these are the things that led me up to being on benzodiazepines and withdrawal from them. So to begin, as I said in my last video, I am 32 years old, and as far as I know, I was basically born with anxiety. There is a lot of history of abuse which could definitely contribute to that. So some of the other things that led up to being on a benzodiazepine had, like I said, terrible, awful anxiety even as a child. Developed IBS as a child, which is definitely anxiety-related illness. Then, as a teenager, I began having actual panic attacks, and I was given either Ativan or Benadryl by family members for these attacks. Over the years, I noticed I became more sensitive to caffeine and alcohol. It would cause me panic attacks, things like coffee especially. At 19 years old, I was in a violently abusive relationship, both physically and sexually abused. And it was a person who was very, very drunk most of the time. I did try to drink alcohol myself to not feel the pain and to not be as scared every day living in this situation. And so one night, this led to me experiencing my first palpitations, heart palpitations. I do believe it was due to living in fear and abuse for so long, and possibly also the alcohol as well. From that time on, I noticed that caffeine and alcohol caused me heart palpitations, which were extremely scary, always, even now. And then a couple years later, in a different relationship, I did get pregnant with my son, and a few months in, I developed a condition called SVT. What that is there is an extra electrical pathway in the heart, and it causes your heartbeat to get stuck in such a way that your heart ends up going literally 200 beats per minute. And it's terrifying, and it's horrible, but probably if you don't have it, it's probably something you don't have to worry about. So they told me during the time I had that I could die at any moment if my heart decided to get tired, and I would go into cardiac arrest, and that would be it. During this time, I did also go through a divorce, and I lived with this heart condition for 2 years, and guess what they gave me every time to stop the episodes? Ativan. And some good things did happen. I did get married to the man of my dreams a few years later, and after 2 years I did end up having a heart surgery, which did fix the SVT problem, but it was extremely traumatizing. I actually woke up during the surgery, and I felt them burning off the extra electrical pathway, which was extremely painful and absolutely terrifying. Shortly after that surgery, I did develop fibromyalgia and POTS. And POTS is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And it causes a lot of positional orthostatic intolerance and palpitations. Again, if you don't have it, you don't really have to worry about it. And same with fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia, you've probably heard of. It's a autoimmune condition that causes a lot of pain and a lot of extreme fatigue. So at this time, I started taking buspirone for anxiety, and I started taking the fludrocortisone to help with the POTS. Just a little more background: since the age of 11, and having depression and anxiety, I have taken many different types of antidepressants, and I don't think any of them have ever helped, ever. So then 2 years after my heart surgery, all of a sudden I became gluten intolerant. And all of a sudden I could not eat garlic or onion without having extreme reactions like heart palpitations or flutters or just weird, really scary things. And gluten would make me violently ill for about a week, vomiting and my heart going off in palpitations. And all these years after the heart surgery that this was going on, I'm still taking Ativan as needed for panic attacks. It wasn't full time, it was just as needed. 1 year we decided to move to Oregon, which is where the actual nightmare began. Doctors there were messing with a lot of my medications, my POTS medication and my anxiety medications, and this made my health a lot worse and my anxiety way worse. And eventually I ended up seeing a psychiatrist who decided to put me on Ativan full time. He said, you know, you've taken it in the past, it's safe, and you know, you'll be fine. So he said you should take about 4 milligrams a day. You should take 1 milligram 4 times a day. And I don't like pills, so I only ended up taking 2 milligrams a day. And still, it only took 30 days to go into tolerance. It was that short a time. And I started having really terrifying symptoms. I was flushing really bad. My heart was racing out of nowhere at random times. And I was having not just one palpitation every now and then, I was having multiple back-to-back episodes. And at first I thought it was a mast cell condition, which is an allergic thing, and again, if you don't have it, you don't have to worry about it. Luckily, after I had joined a mast cell group on Facebook, somebody grabbed me and they said, you know, your symptoms sound a lot like benzo withdrawal. You should come over into this group that we have and, you know, come talk to these people in there and find out what's going on. So I went into her benzo withdrawal group, and they were really mean. They didn't really teach me very much. They just kind of recommended ridiculous things like coffee enemas that I don't understand how they could help anybody, and they didn't really help me very much. They didn't let me message them when I was scared or in crisis and had a question. But luckily, I got invited to a different benzo group, and I did find people there who were much nicer. And I found one admin who became kind of my guide. She helped me learn a lot about withdrawal, and she also helped me when I began my taper. Because after I had discovered that this was benzo withdrawal, I went to my psychiatrist and I told him what I had discovered. And this gentleman, who was older and should have been educated about these things, he said, BS. He said these medicines cannot do that. And so I returned his Ativan prescription to him because I had already been accused of drug seeking, and that was absolutely ridiculous, and I began my own taper by myself. It took me 8 months to taper from 2 milligrams down to 0, and I used, it was a water taper, but it was a modified water taper that I came up with myself. I do plan on having an episode explaining that, if you're interested. I find it helpful to prevent interdose withdrawal, and it's faster than a classic water taper. Anyways, so during this time we moved back to Arizona, because when we first didn't know what this condition was, we did a lot of Googling, and we ended up thinking that I was actually dying, like for real, I was about to die. So I told my husband, I said, if I'm gonna die, that's fine, but I want to go home with my family and die there. And so we lost everything. We lost a home, our first home we had ever bought. He lost a job that he loved a lot, and I lost my health and any independence that I had. The first couple months in, when I was tapering, I actually developed strep throat, and I had to take some antibiotics for that, which I actually reacted to very badly. And even after I got out over the strep throat, which took a really long time, I developed postnasal drip, and that has been one of my worst symptoms this whole time. It caused horrifically sore throat, even after the strep throat was gone, and even now it's causing me issues and pain and sometimes swelling, and it's horrible. I've had a lot of other symptoms as well, and it would take far too long to list all of them, but I will post a list, and I might even post a list in the comments, and if I miss any symptoms, I can always add to it over time. But some of them that I can say is the postnasal drip and heart symptoms were some of my worst symptoms, as well as like extreme akathesia, my body just feeling fast, like feeling way too fast, like there's jet fuel in my veins or something, and just my body being extremely overreactive to everything. As you can see, still flushing, and the stress has caused this sore that I have here, and it's caused some crazy things to happen to my body inside and out. Let's see. At 1 year off, I developed really, really bad orthostatic intolerance or adrenal fatigue of some sort. It was a wave that lasted about a month and a half. I was completely bedbound, and my heart was racing really, really bad. Anytime I stood up, it would be about 150, 160 beats per minute. And my husband actually had to cook for me. I could not really shower for a while, and then when I finally did, I had to use a chair to shower. And I really think that was the lowest point of this whole thing. It was extremely, extremely humiliating, not being able to do any kind of care for myself at all. Eventually, that did slow down. My heartbeat is probably still faster than normal, but it is slower than it used to be. I've also, some of my main symptoms have been like really bad bloating and food intolerances. My withdrawal at one time would only allow me to eat about 4 foods for a really, really long time. And then, like, at one point, even salt and plain chicken was giving me panic attacks and reactions. I have not really been able to tolerate sugar at all, even in fruit, up until recently. I still have a hard time with that. I still only really drink water. I've had waves where my heart was skipping nonstop with almost no spaces in between the skips. That lasted for about 2 weeks. It was constant. It was awful. And some of those skips were really scary and painful. Let's see, I've had like really horrible body pains, including what I call hot spots, and I plan on doing a video explaining those, but it's basically like a burning bruise, and they seem to travel all over your body. My hair has thinned and dyed and grayed. My face has aged. I've developed some really horrific OCD fears. I'm still scared to be alone. I'm still really scared to shower. And I have a really hard time being away from my husband at all. He's kind of been my security blanket through this whole thing. There has been some progress, though. My a lot of my throat pain has gone away, but I am still dealing with like a lot of weird throat symptoms and sometimes pain, but not half as bad as it used to be. My body pains have gotten better. I have gotten stronger, and I can stand and do things, now more physically. I still can't push it too far, or I do get shaky and weak, and fast heartbeat and stuff happens. Let's see. My pulse, like I said, has gotten slower. I am doing better with being in public and having to go places. There was actually a time that I could not even go to town at all, or see a doctor. I was just really terrified, especially when they checked my vitals. But I have noticed that my vitals and my blood pressure and all that, they're going down and getting more towards normal levels when I do have to go to the doctor. I can eat more foods now, and it's not a normal diet, but it's close. I even get to eat white chocolate and hot sauce now, which is nice. I would say that things started to slow down and change around 24 months off. I know everybody's different, but that I would say was a turning point for me. I do still struggle a lot some days more than others, but I am pushing as much as I can, little by little, baby steps. And I would like to tell you, that meditation has helped me a lot. I would like to go into that further as well. And another thing that has helped me a lot is getting closer to God and getting a better relationship with Him. I am Christian, and I will be sharing those kind of beliefs in my videos. So, just to let you know, I have tried to be proactive besides meditation. I am seeing a counselor, and she luckily does know about benzo withdrawal, and we're gonna try a few things to try to get the anxiety better and hopefully eventually gone. I'm hopeful. My family and my husband have told me that they see me improve every day, and I'm sure one day that I'll be better, and one day you'll be better too. Thank you for listening to my story, and I'm not going to reference my medical conditions because I don't want to scare you. I don't want you looking into them and thinking that you might get that or have that, because if you don't know what it is and you don't already have it, then it's not something you're going to have to worry about. I'm also going to share a list of the medications I take, just because it may have been relevant to how my body handled withdrawal. It may not, but it is part of my story, so I don't mind sharing that. I do have more episodes planned, and there's a lot more things that I'd like to talk about, like meditation, like helpful foods, helpful, even TV shows and comforting things to help you get through. And I want to talk about tolerance. I want to talk about what are these weird things I'm feeling, and what is tolerance, what is akathesia, what is going on with me, and I want to help you know what's going on, and I want to help you get through it. I really do. That's why I'm starting these videos. And I would like to hear what you want to talk about. So please, comment. Tell me what you want to talk about. Tell me what you need to learn more about. And I would be happy to work on it. And again, thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Wally Sam, and this is the Hidden Benzo Chronicles.